No.
That would be a luxury. Okay.
It's a minute now.
Oh, the man's at
It
work.
can be solved.
So how was your January?
My January is fine, but you know the Silver Dollar in Toronto?
Yes, I remember it.
It's closing.
No way. After
Huge.
100
Closed.
years. Whoa.
Railway Club might open, but not the way it was.
No. Different owner, different philosophy.
14 years, the Duncan Showroom
Whoa,
experience.
we're still alive, and the curse will not happen.
But you see, the nice thing is we've been at the edge for so long that we're used to being on the edge. All those other guys, you know. What do you mean, scrounge? It's
They
what
didn't
it's
see it
about.
coming.
It's the arts.
Whoa.
14 years we've been open.
14 years. Whoa.
Yes, 14 years. The Duncan Showroom experience has been around since the year 2003, as a matter of fact,
Oh,
September
Criable. So it's almost what month?
of September.
September, okay.
I remember it well.
I remember, yeah. Do I? Who was the first show? Willie?
No,
No. It was the Hardware Girls.
no. The actual first act was Lawrence and Andy and Lawrence. Andrews and Lawrence.
Oh, that's right. That's
They opened up for another band
right.
who was the first band. I actually have a ticket from that first show. Someone saved and gave to me.
You don't remember who the...
I've got this. No, I don't.
Okay, that's all right.
Doug Cox was in
14
that
years
band,
ago.
now, I think.
Oh, he was? Wow.
Yeah.
Neato. It's been
Oh, no, that means
quite
Doug.
the ride.
Oh.
So anyway, the main thing is we're going to break the for the love of words, what was that? Superstition.
Superstition that we every year.
Not every year.
No, not every year.
Twice.
Well, we closed the event. We closed our. No, we didn't close it.
We were the last show in the garage.
Yeah, that was in November, though.
Oh, right. No, I don't think it was the month. It was just the fact that this was the last show twice. And the last show
This
at
is
the
just January.
Silver Bridge. Oh, I see what you mean. We
This is
still got
nothing-
time.
Oh, we got lots. No, I'm not saying this. It has nothing to do with. No, we're not. No, we're. The building is up for sale. Is what's happening, and because the building has gone up for sale, it means that because we have a 3.5 years left in our 5-year lease with an option for 5 more, what means we could stay as long as our lease is up to
Oh, that's right. See, they can't
Par.
toss you out.
current.
As long as you can pay the rent, you
No,
get
as long as
some
it's current.
current.
It's not current yet, even to get paying up.
Oh,
So we have to do that. We've been really good. We needed $16,000, and we've raised a little over $7,000 already in the last 2 weeks.
wow.
And that's even without going out and asking people. That's just stealing and borrowing and stealing.
Wait, was the YouTube turned on yet? Are we live? No, good. It's best to be upfront about these things.
No, stealing people's hearts with sad stories so they contribute.
That's what he meant. I knew it.
Thank you. See, it's all for the love of words,
It is indeed.
and you're the host.
I am.
Get at it.
Okay, here we go. Thank you, Longevity John, for 14 years of pure entertainment. All right. Okay, yeah, I vowed I would write something if it killed me, and it didn't actually kill me, so what the heck? That's good. Those long dry spells, they can really get to you. Okay. First time I read off a phone because my printer's down at home, and I didn't want to give you the unedited version. I feel this... No. Whew, let's try that. I got so excited. I feel like this could be just as much fun with a hit of heroin. Returning on the ferry from Vancouver, writing with the stolen pen of Laura Faulkner, I glance over at the yacht yard in Horseshoe Bay where 36 years ago I crawled into a brand new yacht to sleep the night away. Having missed the ferry up the coast to Powell River, returning to my Katimavik mates, Robertson's Beach. The yacht yard is no longer there, only the memory of the workers waking me in the early dawn and having to sneak out of that fancy-ass sailboat without getting caught, treasuring a luxurious sleep of dreams. I suppose I'm quite a different animal now. One doesn't really know, does one, being on the inside of the self? It's a classic question. Who was I then? Who am I now? I just delivered a tabletop to Halliburton Country Club, replacing one that, as Goldilocks would say, was not quite right. It's a tiny job for a few shekels meant expressly to shake up my molecules, create some space for my pen to roam in. So far, I've only formulated one proposal of marriage to a lanky waitress in the local brew pub, held a minor fleeting infatuation with a novel-reading linebacker type who had a colorful stuffed worm protruding from her knapsack and sporting superior bone structure. These love addict skills of mine get rusty if I don't trot them out once in a while. There is a world of kind and interesting people to fall for. I almost had a gay encounter in the public washroom. I walked in to find a guy sitting on the loo with the door open, which I took, of course, as an invitation to some kind of New York sex club encounter thing. And I was so confused and flabbergasted I just hid in the urinal, so to speak, until some social work gal knocked on the door and asked if her client was okay. Whew. It seems his autism is claustrophobic, with the stall doors closed, and he was just airing it all out, keeping it real, so to speak. So, you see what I mean? I've been stuck at home way too long. My receptors were all awry. Doesn't matter what it is, right? As long as you break the dry spell. Okay, we had a request from Eugene to be first out of the gate. He's got something for us. Eugene? What's that? Stay here. Oh, you want me to stay here? Yeah. Oh, okay. Can I stand where John stands?
Sure.
I'm not quite that tall.
So, on behalf of the Duncan Showroom and your 9 years of perseverance,
Oh.
we have a little gift for you.
Oh my Lord! Can I open it?
Sure. I got 3 words for you while you're doing that,
good.
okay? So the first is the jonologue. You looked at me a little weird when I said that, but you just saw and heard a jonologue.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a word coined here last year about this time. Sitting backstage listening to it from back there, I thought, well, it's not a monologue, it's a jonologue.
It's a jonologue.
So some of it you might think was nonsense. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not. It's John-sense.
John-sense.
And my other word is psychogeracetic.
That's a good one.
Means too much TV.
Oh, nice. Psychogeracetic. Well, thank you, Gene. Whoa, that's brilliant. The 9th birthday. Canada Goose. Now, this is the... Tell me about this.
These are those volumes published in Lethbridge.
Right. Oh,
This is one of them. I had multiple copies of it, and
Thank you.
this was a good occasion for it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. Do you want to read something out of it?
No, you.
Oh, okay. I'll give you a quick one.
I've done it before.
Jonologue, John-sense, and psychogeracetic. Is that right? Psychogeracetic. Wow. Okay. I had a short turn. I can read you one. Mike Howard. This is called Canada Goose, Volume 1. Whoa. Number 4. Thank you, Eugene. He had told us about these coming out of Alberta. And what was the time period? Early 70s. Mike Howard, Steeled Union. Cold steel in gray perspective of dawn lies stretched obscenely from the roots to the sand. Caught squarely in the eye, the traveler slowly grasps the time that reached for new roads in his pocket and lies his way a while longer on the gray morns of maturity. Sold for the thread of clothing, wraps the loins of the wanderer in her warmth to nourish what was lost in apathy, fighting haphazardly the question of flight and settling for the travel bag of another's lonely war. Folding the edge of heaven into the ditches of machines, come quietly to the steeled cross tie and grind the loneliness of the weary one deep into the steel, to creep respectfully to the next rootless suicide. Bold brilliance of stars shatters the unknown tear to the pillow, to wake as at a funeral and not know why. The last copulation ripples out of the bag and rises, trembling over roof, sand, and ditch, to quiver hesitantly before the steel. Sorry, that was trembling over root. Very nice. Thank you very much. That's a very nice gift. 9 years and counting. Right on. Thank you, and thank you all for being part of that. Those 9 years. Couple of new gals. Well, how about I'm gonna get it right. Tessa. Tesla. Like the car. That's right. Should have been memorable. Tesla. How's the height of that? Okay.
Yeah, it's
Just
fine.
come up close to it a bit.
All right. Okay. I wrote this poem about a year ago. It's called An Epiphany. You who think of me so highly, you who think of me as perfect, you who says on a daily basis, you're beautiful. You who say and think all this and more about me, you're also the one who says some of the worst things. You who tells me to conceal my scars, you who tells me to not be gluttonous, you who thinks of me as a slob. You who say and think all this and more about me, you're also the one who says some of the best things. Even though you treat me like this, I still think of you as my friend, my mother, my father, my child, lover, teacher, student, and I think of you as me. I know I treat myself like this. I know that I am a goddess that is amazing in many different aspects, but I also know that I am a monster who should be hidden away from the light of day. I hate that this is how I and many others treat ourselves, but it's a fact, a global subconscious habit. I am beautiful and I am disgusting. I am smart and I'm a fool. I am courageous and I'm a coward. I'm a human.
No, that's good. That was great, though. Thank you. I hope you'll come back again, Tessa. How did you hear about us? Did John? Was it a?
My mom told me about you guys.
Oh.
She said that she came and listened to you guys, played for you guys a while back.
Oh, played.
At Little Bowl.
Maybe came to one of the open stages that was the music one. You mean? Oh, okay, great. Well, I'm glad you made it out. Way to go. This next contestant, well, I would share a particular kind of torture and pain. I was railing against the people who put those things on Facebook about mental health week and cut and paste and I was just being an idiot, really. I said, I'm never gonna fucking cut and paste and share that shit. Fuck you. But really, it's a great thing, I know, and I just I like to suffer in pain, or I mean in silence, and be depressed all by myself. But maybe it actually would be good to talk to somebody occasionally. And I like there's those lovely people who post, my door is always open and I've got coffee if you want to come over, which I think is pretty cool. And so I wasn't really saying fuck you to those people. I apologize. But anyway, this particular type of pain that I share with this young man is peculiar to the trials of being a grocery clerk. And we both survived it, David, so we much stronger for it, I would say. Mr. David Bell, former Thrifty Foods employee.
So I feel like I'm gonna use the microphone this time.
Okay.
I just like fear this thing. I don't want to. I want to stand.
Hold on. How about this one?
Sure.
Is that okay, Tim? Is Tim even there? If we. Okay, you could just come over here. Just if he's over here. Okay.
Oh, I don't want to hold it though. I want it on
Oh.
a stand.
You do want it on a stand.
Yeah.
You just want to stand up.
Yeah.
Oh. How about if I?
Can we?
Okay. I was
That's what I
missing
wanna
your.
do.
I was missing
Thank you.
your. What's it? never actually learned how to communicate. I just some basics of the language, but okay, we gotta adjust from the tall man from the John sense setting.
Awesome. Thank you.
That good?
Perfect. So I've got a couple pieces. They're all untitled. If I were to describe our relationship, it would be like 3-day-old, your favorite lazy day recipe casserole. Reheated, microwave, calorie-dense Sunday. Day off, it's the afternoon, you're now having breakfast, meal of the day. That's what I would say. If I were to describe our relationship, I'd say it's playful, workplace, horse around, backroom, misplaced, displaced responsibilities, juvenile, let's not get caught by the authorities. This backroom has lamps and ceiling lights, but authorities' headlights and lamps, bright lights light up hand stamps, heated on foggy windows where love stamps. Stampede, rush clothing. If I were to describe our relationship, because reckless seems reckless, this couldn't be reckless without wreck or less. If I were to describe our relationship, I'd say well-traveled. Because hand stamps like receipt ink blot plants, I'd say uncultured. Because inexperienced, not like puppy love, but more like nouveau rich. Let's get this to go, let's wreck this, let's get less, let's get our casserole. Because the reheat microwave button is just so easy. If I were to describe our relationship, I'd say reheat. You're hot like jazz. You're the tune that is passion and sound that closes musicians' eyes. You're the rattle that keeps musicians upstairs. You're the rattle that keeps upstairs tenants awake, reminding them why they rented a place above a club. You're the stale air recirculated in tobacco and splashed with the orange rind, floating in those few old fashions, but you're hardly old-fashioned. You're the rare joint mixing up the joint, bold, acting like you don't do what you're told. You're the tie-dye hiding under the musicians' suit jackets. Smooth but dirty, the guitar solo that reminds me why live music is so good. I look forward to the improvisation, and I can ignore the few notes that might be mixed. I can smile, I might laugh. But I won't let anything interrupt your music. Let me look forward to the encore, but keep me guessing if it will really happen or not. At least give me a few minutes. Play my favorite song, the one with the favorite part, the one that just isn't the same if you skip to it. It's all the more sweet because it's the longest track on the album. I want your recording, and I want it on repeat. What it's like to be a hypochondriac. For starters, I wonder what kind of anxiety disorder I have because I can't stop thinking about what's wrong with me, and I wonder if hypochondria is an anxiety disorder, and if it is, I think I have it. Sometimes my heart beats, it beats, it beats, beats, it beats, beats, it beats, it beats, it beats, and I hold my fingers two together and test my pulse like a real professional to know if this flip-flop flutter dance is real, and I'm certain now I have heart problems that makes me anxious. Sometimes my heart, and now I'm certain I'm having panic attacks. WebMD is my homepage. Walk-in clinics are my stage where I practice rehearsing the symptoms page, and if matchmaking symptoms were a puzzle, I'd be in auxiliary classes for the gifted. I cheapen symptoms like how I have OCD, I totally do that, and yeah, I totally do that, I'm so bipolar. I can't eat this, that, I can't make up my mind if I'm celiac or not, I'm wearing a thinking cap, I think it says I have multiple personalities. Hollywood helps diagnose me. Hypochondria, my doctors don't notice because I'm always going to different ones. I've read every illness. I help doctors' instructions with my knowledgeable interruptions. You'd think they'd have notes of how crazy I am in my file that they share. But let's be real. These doctors aren't working together. I know this because prescriptions are like the 5-cent candy sections. I could get refills just by switching pharmacies. whoever complained about too much business. And I'm starting to think that these 25-cent candies are giving me an ulcer. I think these anxieties are making me older, and I wonder now what symptoms come with age and how many fit into me, so I browse the home page and play a mentally ill, fill in the right square like an infant but adult human-shaped puzzle block-shaped match game. But more like the perfection game, because this game pops, the timer always stops so early, and if perfection is the game, it doesn't always matter how long the timer goes. I'm always discovering more pieces. With other games inside them, it's like finding a wiki link on the symptoms page that you can browse, uncover more pages, even though these website links are already colored a familiar purple. But I can only hope that the page is being edited to include something new to fit into me. It's like I can't feel complete unless I'm full of all these pieces. I can't feel complete until I've jammed forced hand these puzzle pieces that don't belong into something that looks like it remotely belongs together. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Nice work. There is life after grocery. Yeah, wait a minute. Tara, is that right? Yes. Ah, the other T. Good. Also a new reader. Thank you for coming out. Do you want to stand? Sit? Sit. Okay. Second time, Phil. Well, second time. I'm sorry. My apologies.
Yeah, you weren't here.
Oh.
Hi, everybody. I'm grateful Tesla kicked off the evening like that because I have a few, like 4 short pieces, and I wasn't sure about the order. And the common theme I could see is kind of all the different worlds and fragments and parts that we are. So I'm going to start with a poem that's actually not mine. It's by Susan McCaslin, and it speaks to the freedom to move between the worlds. So those of you who are familiar with the mythology of Persephone and Demeter, Persephone was sold or arranged to be married to the lord of the underworld by her father, and there's debate whether or not she actually fell in love with him or if she was forced to stay. In either case, her mother missed her so much that eventually they struck a deal that she would spend half the year in the underworld with Hades and half the year in the upper world with her mother, and she's associated with the seasons that way. And Susan McCaslin has written a whole book of poetry or poetic interpretation on this myth, and this is one of my favorite poems. It's called Great Grandmother Steps In. Tell us what you want, Gaia said. A pleasure without pain, Persephone said. And Gaia said no. Then the young woman realized this wasn't what she really wanted. So she swallowed the entire pomegranate, seat, casement, juice, and all, and crowned herself queen of contraries, till what she had always desired became her intent. The power to move freely on the stairway between the worlds. Mind no more barrier reef to her most nuanced longing. A fullness fully distinguished, but not entirely separate from that of her mother. A balance within her she could count on. So the next 3 are mine, and I don't know if they have a red thread, but we'll just move through the different worlds freely. This one I wrote somewhat recently, and I'm observing the world, which is in chaos, and I'm observing my inner world, and as a clairvoyant and healer in the making, maybe I observe the mental, emotional worlds as well, and it's crazy. So I was ruminating on what it means to heal or to be free. What does it mean to heal? To heal ourselves and others, this beautiful mother planet we live with, and all that we touch with our minds, hearts, hands, and souls. How does it feel to be whole, to feel centered and supported, connected, surrendered, and boldly daring and caring for the life we dream of? All of this within the reality of the many extensions that are our current personality and humanity. How can we, on this healing journey, on this discovery path home, Reconcile the truth of the eternal perfection of the now moment with the inner and outer work that needs to be done, and quickly. The answer is easy. Love. Let love consume you and guide you. Let your heart lead. If you have but one practice, make it this of tuning into your heart center in all that presents itself to your consciousness. Wherever you go, whatever you're doing, no matter how you're feeling or what you're thinking, regardless of the state of your health and home, your career, your relationships, you're your beating, radiating heart first. You decide from there. No matter the modality, practice from the heart, any effort and step leads towards freedom, bliss, and joy, towards the liberation and integration of our lower aspects into the light. There's no right or wrong here. Within the heart of every single human being on earth today resides the God seed of deep compassion and joy, the highest intelligence of all the universes where all solutions lie. The heart knows timing, rhythm, steadfastness, resilience. The heart knows service, responsible for life's blood flow and its return to center from the farthest reaches of the body it beats. The heart knows gratitude and presence, making itself known when true heartfelt connection is taking place. The heart leads graceful movement, aids in resurrection of the soul retrievals taking place. The heart knows how to choose the words, sounds, silences that heal. The heart contains the melody of true salvation, so listen now to music that you feel. The heart unites and unifies so easy all the fragments of our minds and all emotional confusion. It dissolves fears and grandiosity alike. The heart believes, embraces, always giving of itself. It fills the world up to the brim with golden sunlight, moonshine, starlight, with molten lava love from Gaia, tree love, plants, and creepy crawlers, animal companions, devas, minerals, elementals, the angelics. The heart of all is of one kin. For the love of words, I cannot count the times that words have saved me, killed me, disassembled, reconfigured who I thought I was. And more than definition, music-like caressed my ear, my heart, my mind and soul. Have filled the gaps of being, found me broken, made me whole. Words have also caused disease, caused me to doubt my inner voice and transferred false belief. In times like these, emotions running high with an essential peace, it's better to speak less, move more, and cry those tears, to laugh out loud. Fears die and guide if we can cease their resuscitation, like. Maybe finish with something a little more sensual, as I did last time. Speaking of traveling the world, this was written, conceived and written in that in-between space, just waking up, which I love. I wake up into a painting. Somewhere between your caress and the sunrise, skin feeling soft, as if kissed by you all night. Poetic words pleasing my brain, being the sea of semi-precognitive ecstasy. These mornings, when the world so softly greets me, basking me in gentleness and light, holding me suspended both inside and outside time, I feel neither alone nor with you. Words caressing my entire being with their sheer presence like undulating wisdom. He traces the smooth curve of her hip. Somewhere in this song, between all worlds, sunlight hits my eye. All is so fine. I bridge this pleasure, bridge this sacred dream of mine. I learn so much and keep so little from these early morning floats. Conversing effortless, all senses merge, the light as soft as rain, your voice as soft as thought. It's not to lose or gain. The sweetness of these mornings, alone in bed with me, communing with the ethers in form, yet strangely free. I am the flame and the sacred container within which I burn. I wake up inside a painting and take the hand you extend to me from within, the wind whistling, rustling leaves of early morning. Waking up to the dream allows further movement into its sensual beauty. I wake up inside a painting. Early morning's favorite lover, pendiculating cat stretches ripple my holy dream body. I wake up to freedom and creation. I wake up inside a painting, feel you lying close to me. Pull me in and nuzzle closer. Merging with you makes me free. Thank you.
Well, I hope you guys will come back. Whoa. I saw there's people sneaking in. There's some tall, lanky guy handling the camera back there. Don't say your name out loud. Would you like to read? Mr. Spectre? I think he's sitting at the top, aren't you? Mr. Spectre. Do you want to read something? Just watching? Okay. Okay. Driving in. Did you guys notice how close is that Venus that's right close to the crescent moon right now? Would that be Venus? Amazing. Yeah, I know. So it is the hour of love, perhaps the month. So the nice poem to let love heal. And it's weird. I wasn't even smoking anything, but it's one of those times where you look up and you see the light and you imagine that you can see the actual shape of the planet, which I don't know if you can, driving along at 80 kilometers an hour. But I felt that I could. Brigitte, are you going to read tonight? Was that Brigitte that came in? Oh, who is this? Angela, sorry. It's in the dark. Well, this is your mama, who plays guitar. Bass, nice. Angela, you don't want to read tonight? Okay, no worries. Sorry, you look like a poet. It's a nice look. It's a good look. Yeah. Just go. Well, you probably are. The other reason I won't be going on the mental health support group this year is because I feel like I'm through the darkest hour. Probably, it was hard to get out of the ladies' clothes, frankly, this time, and a few weeks of doing the pantomime, and to remember that I'm actually a man. Well, but no, I have this new prescription from the doctor, which goes like this. The doctor said vitamin D, he said probiotics, B complex, and frequent masturbation. So I thought, well, maybe if I follow this prescription, I won't need the support group, but I could have the support group as a backup. Mr. Hadfield, what would you, doctor? What have you got for us this month?
Yeah, sure. No worries. I had a conversation with a doppelganger of a friend of mine today, and it started me thinking about doors. And then I sort of wondered, well, if I was going to write something about doors, if I was thinking about it. But then I thought, well, what else has been said about doors? So I went on the internet, and that huge encyclopedia of things. Look on every exit as being an entrance somewhere else. Tom Stoppard from Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. The man who comes through the door in the wall will never be quite the same as the man who went out. He will be wiser, but less sure, happier, but less self-satisfied, humbler in acknowledging his ignorance, yet better equipped to understand the relationship of words to things, of systematic reasoning to the unfathomable mystery which it tries forever vainly to comprehend. Aldous Huxley from The Doors of Perception. A very little key will open a very heavy door, says Charles Dickens from Hunted Down. Shape clay into a vessel. It is the space within that makes it useful. Cut doors and windows for a room. It is the holes which make it useful. Therefore, benefit comes from what is there, usefulness from what is not there. From Lao Tzu. Don't fight the doors you are led to. Take a deep breath and go through. Lewis Carroll out of Alice in Wonderland. She had always lived her best life in dreams. She knew no greater pleasure than that moment of passage into the other place, when her limbs grew warm and heavy, and the sparkling darkness behind her lids became ordered and doors opened. When conscious thought grew owl's wings and talons and became other than conscious. From John Crowley, Little Big. I'm learning persistence and the closing of doors, the way the seasons come and go as I keep walking on these roads back and forth to find myself in new time zones, new arms with new phrases and new goals. And it hurts to become, hurts to find out about the poverty and gaps, the widow and the leavers. It hurts to accept that it hurts, and it hurts to learn how easy it is for people to not need other people, or how easy it is to need other people, but that you can never build a home in someone's arms because they will let go one day and you must build your own. Charlotte Erickson from Another Vagabond Lost to Love. The human ego is the ugliest part of man. We lift up men who only show us darkness and put down those brave enough to show us the light. Likewise, people engage in darkness when it is light outside and acknowledge the light only when it is dark. We abandon those fighting for us to cheer behind those fighting against us. And we only remember good people and God when it is convenient for us, and take them for granted because their doors are always open, only to chase after closed doors and personalities void of substance and truth. It's from Susie Kassem, Rise Up and Salute the Sun. A narrative is like a room on whose walls a number of false doors have been painted, while within the narrative we have many apparent choices of exit. But when the author leads us to one particular door, we know it is the right one because it opens. John Updike. Philosophy is like trying to open a safe with a combination lock. Each little adjustment of the dials seems to achieve nothing. Only when everything is in place does the door open. Ludwig Wittgenstein. One more. The little guy pulls me forward towards the black mass. As we get closer, it turns into a doorway, a portal into a galaxy-studded universe. There's a lintel, and the boy stands beside the door frame and excitedly tells me, "Go, go, go." I feel my fear rising again, and my logical, rational mind frantically trying to figure this out. I ask them both to step aside. I place my foot on the stone stoop and then let myself fall forward and push off. I begin to float like I'm in water. It reminds me of my drawing from another time when I was propelled upward into a cloud of galaxies. And I think of that strange winged creature on whose neck I sat as he hurtled through a sonorous universe. The immensity is overwhelming. I wrote that from The Boy in the Cockpit. Thank you.
Very apt for this time of year. Thoughtful time. Sonorous. I love that word. What does it mean exactly?
Very deep and like low tone.
Sonorous. Yeah, beautiful word. Now, Brandon, are you sure? Because probably any number of monologues. Are you still here? Running around in your head. You could whip something up. I don't believe you, but that's fine. Okay. Where are we? Keith. Mr. Williams. Keith still here? Yes. It's good to be back, by the way, and thank you very much to Biron Miller for hosting last month. And several of you I may ask to whether you want to be a co-host. Come on up. Sorry, Keith, I didn't mean to. For the next year, for 39 days, we're going to once again do 5 Tuesdays in a row. Of which I do not want to do all 5 as host. It would be great if anybody wants to volunteer. I would ask perhaps Byron, and I'll see if John's interested, Mr. Hadfield. But if you've never hosted something and you want to host, by all means ask. They're going to come on Tuesday at 4 p.m. and we do 5 in a row. So anyway, sorry to interrupt your space, Mr. Williams.
Hi. I haven't been here for a while. I usually don't know what I'm going to do when I get up here until I'm sitting back there and some kind of self-induced terror. But so I'm just maybe going to read a couple of things by a couple of my favorite people. I was thinking recently about, favorite people, and if I could spend an evening with any 3 other people, who might that be? And really, it came down to Leonardo da Vinci, George Carlin, and Bill Murray. And then I started to trying to imagine, well, what would that be like? So, I don't know. I think partway through the night, Leonardo would probably be like, boys, what exactly was in that brownie you gave me? Because I am fucking baked. And then probably Bill Murray might say something like, what's the matter, Leo? Did Georgie slip you a chocolate kush Mickey? And George Carlin, from my experience, would probably just say, fuck you. I think my glasses are somewhere up top there, and I'm going to need them. I'm going to have to do a little backtracking. Sorry, this is not on the agenda. Oh, thank you, sir, so much. Thank you. Anyways, try to get a little, rein things in a bit here. And I think I'll read, for me, the most powerful and cognitively original and imaginative mind that I've ever bumped up against is Emily Dickinson. I mean, Dante and Shakespeare and William Blake. I don't know. I can read them, and with some help, I can, figure out what the hell they're talking about. Emily Dickinson, I just don't have any idea. But there's just a feeling that comes with it. So I thought I might just read one of her poems. It's called Poem 258. She didn't bother with titles or things like that. I think she only published maybe 11 of her poems were published during her lifetime. The vast majority she just wrote, it seemed, and kept for herself. Shared sometimes correspondence with some people, but anyway, I would just not to tell anyone what to do. I would just think about poetry. Sometimes I don't like reading it myself, and sometimes I don't like hearing it because there's a tendency to try and grab onto too much while I'm hearing it and try to figure out what it's saying, what it's about. So I would just say, don't bother. There's a certain slant of light, winter afternoons, that oppresses like the heft of cathedral tunes. Heavenly hurt it gives us. We can find no scar, but internal difference where the meanings are. None may teach it, any. 'Tis the sealed despair, an imperial affliction sent us of the air. When it comes, the landscape listens, shadows hold their breath. When it goes, 'tis like the distance on the look of death. So another person that is a favorite of mine, he was actually fourth in the people that I would like to spend the night with. Wow. Which is also interesting because I'm looking at Freud here, but as I'm scrolling to get to where I'm going here, I seem to be in some kind of quicksand. Is Franz Kafka? I love Franz. Well, I just love his negativity to death. I love it right to death, and it's been said that there was probably no more catastrophic lover in the history of humankind than Franz Kafka. I'm going to read a letter that he wrote to Milena Jasenka, one of the women that he became involved with. And as soon as things started to get serious, he just started backpedaling furiously every time. It's a long time since I wrote to you, Frau Milena, and even today I'm writing only as the result of an incident. Actually, I don't have to apologize for my not writing. You know, after all, how I hate letters. All the misfortune of my life, I don't wish to complain, but to make a generally instructive remark derives, one could say, from letters or from the possibility of writing letters. People have hardly ever deceived me, but letters always. And as a matter of fact, not only those of other people, but my own. In my case, this is a special misfortune of which I won't say more, but at the same time also a general one. The easy possibility of letter writing must, seen merely theoretically, have brought into the world a terrible disintegration of souls. It is, in fact, an intercourse with ghosts, and not only with the ghost of the recipient, but also with one's own ghost, which develops between the lines of the letter one is writing, and even more so in a series of letters, where one letter corroborates the other and can refer to it as a witness. How on earth did anyone get the idea that people can communicate with one another by letter? Of a distant person one can think, and of a person who is near one can catch hold. All else goes beyond human strength. Writing letters, however, means to denude oneself before the ghosts, something for which they greedily wait. Written kisses don't reach their destination. Rather, they are drunk on the way by the ghosts. It is on this ample nourishment that they multiply so enormously. Humanity senses this and fights against it, and in order to eliminate as far as possible the ghostly element between people and to create a natural communication, the peace of souls, it has invented the railway, the motor car, the aeroplane. But it's no longer any good. These are evidently inventions being made at the moment of crashing. The opposing side is so much calmer and stronger. After the postal service, it has invented the telegraph, the telephone, the radiograph. The ghosts won't starve, but we will perish. Bill, do I have about 3 more minutes? I'll just, the audacity to try and follow Emily Dickinson and Franz Kafka. I was just gonna, if I can recite one paragraph from a very short story that I wrote a little while back. It's kind of, for me, a lot of the time, story writing is an extension of journaling. Ooh, that sounds just sickening. But so this was a story called Santonica Day. Santonica is an herb that is used to sometimes derive serotonin from. And so I'll just read one paragraph, or recite one paragraph. Anton Chekhov once wrote that anyone who has recuperated from a serious illness walks around with a constant smile on their face and a deep foreboding in their heart. It was well under the grip of exactly this contradictory state that I walked one luminous spring morning into the park. Here seemed to be a riot of joy and positivity, of human gratitude, my own beatific smile blending in seamlessly, I felt sure, with the families and strollers, lovers and dogs, kites in the breeze off the sea, which reflected the sky, which reflected the sea back, and the bending grass, invisible birdsong, and the music of leaves. The sun was radiant, dazzling, showing off. I sat down on an empty bench and tilted my face up toward the sun, eyeing it warily, basking, smiling, and grinding my teeth. Thank you.
Yeah. Wow, that's I'm glad that you reread that, Keith, because that's a really well-written paragraph. This goes to show, a lot of thought, editing. That's a great paragraph. And the thing about letters, do you guys ever, we have so many ways to converse now that, I don't know, for me, I get in the middle of an MSN thing or typing back and forth, and it's so easy to be misunderstood. And you think you're on a wave and you're on this excitement of communication with someone, but then it just so easily gets derailed, doesn't it? As opposed to conversations, say, where you could just, offend somebody face to face. I don't know. I think about these things. Here's a man who strives to be clear. Mr. Byron Miller. Errol Nimbley, your host from last month, a lovely man who probably wants to host one this summer too. Though 4 p.m. might be hard for you.
I didn't last.
Didn't you? I know you're usually working at 4 p.m. Why does he put us on at 4 p.m.? Where is he? Can we talk about him? He's probably upstairs watching us on the YouTube.
So the Duncan Showroom has been open for 14 years. So I'm going to turn that around to make it 41. And tell you what happened to me today. I got a phone call from Highway Rentals, the place where I had dropped off my chainsaw, which is a steel 041. And I was bucking up logs in my backyard, and it started to scream, and I didn't realize, being mechanically disinclined, that air was getting in and making it run really leanly. So I just kept using it, and then it stopped, and I had taken it in. My Stihl 041, which I purchased in 1975 in Golden when we did this Back to the Land thing. And then I did the math, and I realized 1975, 2016, it has served me for 41 years. So I thought that was kind of interesting. My 041, 41 years. So in trying to decide what to do tonight, I picked up this book, which has been sitting next to my wood stove because it's old and was mildewy, and it's been sitting there for days and weeks, drying out. It's the best verse of Ogden Nash, selected by the author himself. It's called The Face is Familiar. And if you open it up, this volume is from 1941. Okay? So here we go. So Mark Twain said, it takes a heap of sense to write good nonsense. And Ogden Nash was really popular, and I don't know whether his nonsense was good or not, but I'm going to give you a little sample of it, because I wasn't that familiar with it. So I've got three pieces here, if I can see them. Yeah, yeah, this first one, I guess I was thinking of Donald Trump. And it's called, Golly, How Truth Will Out. How does a person get to be a capable liar? That is something that I respectfully inquire. Because I don't believe a person will ever set the world on fire unless they are a capable liar. Some wise man said that words were given to us to conceal our thoughts. But if a person has nothing but truthful words, why, their thoughts haven't even the protection of a pair of panties or shorts. Shorts is spelt like thoughts. And a naked thought is ineffectual as well as improper, and hasn't a chance in the presence of a glib, chinchilla-clad whopper. One of the greatest abilities a person can have, I guess, is the ability to say yes when they mean no, and no when they mean yes. Oh, to be Machiavellian. Oh, to be unscrupulous. Oh, to be glib. Oh, to be ever prepared with a plausible fib. Because then a dinner engagement or a contract or a treaty is no longer a fetter, because liars can just logically lie their way out of it if they don't like it, or if one comes along that they like better. And do you think their conscience prickles? No, it tickles. And please believe that I mean every one of these lines as I am writing them, because once there was a small boy who was sent to the drugstore to buy some bitter stuff to put on his nails to keep him from biting them, and in his humiliation he tried to lie to the clerk, and it didn't work, because he said, "My mother sent me to buy some bitter stuff for a friend of mine's nails that bites them," and the clerk smiled wisely and said, "I wonder who that friend could be." And the small boy broke down and said, "Me." And it was me, or at least I was him. And all my subsequent attempts at subterfuge have been equally grim. And that is why I admire a suave prevarication, because I prevaricate so awkwardly and gauchely. And that is why I can never amount to anything politically or socially. There we go. Sec here. So that's Ogden Nash. And here's a short one. The shorter ones are probably better. Okay. What's the use? Sure, deck your lower limbs in pants. Yours are the limbs, my sweeting. You look divine as you advance. Have you seen yourself retreating? Okay, and then one more. And this one was interesting because it's kind of about, if anyone has desired to put together a little book of poetry, of their poetry and have it published. So this is called A Parable for Sports Writers, Society Columnists, Bond Salesmen, and Poets, or Go Get a Reputation. Ezra Aesop, at 88, he published a volume of verse. The rhymes were ragged, the meter wilted, the prosody prosy, the stanzas stilted. But other poets of 88, patriarchal or celibate, might conceivably, might believably, might finally, irretrievably have seized the muse by the horns and tail and written a volume worse. So the red fires burned and the banners flew and the fat nymphs danced in the pagan dew and the mountains skipped like little lambs and editors squandered telegrams over deserts and under oceans. Through rotary redmen, elks, and Yosians, the word flew east and the word flew west, flew with the wings of a drummer's jest, that the book of the era, beyond debate, was the book by the poet of 88. Oh, excellent Ezra, the people cried. He might have doddered, he might have died. He might have entered a monastery, he might have adopted his secretary. But what did he do? He studied at home, then up and published a slender tome. So they borrowed early and purchased late the book by the poet of 88, and El Dorado had no bonanzas like Ezra Aesop's elderly stanzas. 2. Rosalie Ransom, going on 6, she published a volume 2, and heaven pity the heretics who neglected to read it through, for the word was out in palace and cot of the teensy-weensy talented tot, and gangsters gossiped of Rosalie Ransom, who lisped iambics and lisped them handsome. The public panted, the press grew giddy at the very thought of a lyrical kitty, and professors pawned their Shelley and Keats to purchase Rosalie's youthful feats. 3. A regular poet published a book, and an excellent book it was, but nobody gave it a second look, as nobody often does. He was going on 35, so it didn't keep him long alive. There you have it. Thank you.
Did I miss anybody? All right, then. Just a couple to finish off. It's always interesting to me, the interconnecting lines and thoughts that come out, the unspoken theme. And, of course, I was thinking of the quote that John brought out when you were doing the piece about the liar, and how we pay so much attention to fascistic arseholes when we could be talking about the Dalai Lama or something. Rachel, you're a visual person. Do you know if the Verse and Vision is still alive? Are you connected with CVAC? Oh, it is. Well, they needed a fancy new name? Oh. What would that be, I wonder? Let's think of a better way to... Anyway, that's an interesting... And it's usually in the spring, right? Oh, so maybe not this year? Oh, okay. I was just going to bring it up because I thought maybe some of the writers did not know of it, but maybe you could watch for it next year because it's kind of an interesting exercise, I think, in that now it's always worked from one way, hasn't it? That it's been people present poems and then a visual artist would make a representation of that, I believe. But in my mind, it could kind of go both ways, couldn't it? Be interesting to write poetry from a painting or a drawing. Maybe we could suggest that. Hello? Oh, ekphrastic, right? You talked about that. Ekphrasis. And just tell us that definition again, which is so cool. It, okay, so those specific conditions. So let's get ekphrastic. Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's very cool. Yeah, I like that piece. Very nice. Yeah, so that's CVAC does that, and they're still situated at the community center. So that might be a suggestion for next year. Let's get ekphrastic. How do you say it? X. True, you could. Ekphrastic. Okay, I have to give you this one because it happened just the other day. No machinery was involved. Like the little farm lady, I like that little farm lady as she emerges from behind the sliding door mysteriously. I try not to make any sudden movements. I hold my hands in prayer-like postures so that I don't convey any ill will as I tower over her. I have brought many empties, which is a gift to both of us, I suppose, hers to receive and mine to relieve that pile that is threatened in the corner of my kitchen like the twin towers to fall. And her eggs are now $5 a dozen. A shock rings through me. I know this is still good value, so I try hard not to portray any passive-aggressive shockwaves about the state of the world and the rising cost of groceries. Her smile is lovely. I traveled to Slovenia in her merry little smile, and I am well fed, drinking harvest wine and getting a little crazy with that gypsy mountain music. It's so fast, it employs a lot of flats, whereas the Western-backed whitey music puts sharps in. And so I try not to say too much or stay too long. I take 2 dozen, then when I see how tiny the little lamb is in her field, I wish I had only taken 1 so that I could come back sooner. Yeah. She's a lovely lady. If you're ever looking for eggs on the corner of Coxsila and Lakeview. And where is Mr. Poetry of the Month? Cheesecake, good-looking man. Oh, where's he been? Been in hell. Well, he should get some good writing out of that. He's such a serious writer. So he went to hell, and I didn't know they flew there directly. Oh, okay. I bet he does. Andrew French. We're speaking of her good man, Mr. Andrew French. Great, a month. And so family, where is hell actually? That's hell. Oh my God, yeah, frozen wasteland. Okay. Well, we'll be glad to see him. So did his event go up with another host? You did it. How was that? Were you? You didn't get too nervous? Right. It's not like here where you're under the bright lights and it's nice because you're not usually the front person. You don't like doing that so much. Maybe it'll be a new thing. Okay. I like the thought of dying. I like the thought of assisted suicide. Not this week, but when I get there to that point. There was did you read the article about the couple in Duncan? I thought, well, that's pretty cool. To me, that's kind of we're getting a bit more civilized. Please do not come for me tonight, for tonight is a night of love and pankoed sole and potatoes and onion and Brussels sprouts cooking together while Lisa Hannigan croons, while Brandy Carlisle roars. I did not know I was in love, but in the sun at Maple Bay, as you take shots of waterfowl, I am perfectly happy. A rare peace descends in the sun, and I beg, please do not come for me tonight. Does anybody recognize this? Great. You know, the great thing I was thinking about, Keith, when you were reading is how anybody might pick their own list of 4 people who they'd like to be with, and what if 75% of them were assholes? Would be a sad thing, wouldn't it? But that's kind of negative. Sorry. Bill Murray, I'm sure, and George, but Leonardo was probably spent so much time by himself. Was he a social guy? Okay, this is one of my favorite books. I'm just going to give you a paragraph because I like to know if you would read this book if you had the chance. I'm not going to lend it to you. Don't ask me. Terrible. If he is awake early enough, the boy sees the men walk past the farmhouse down First Lake Road. Then he stands at the bedroom window and watches. He can see 2 or 3 lanterns between the soft maple and the walnut tree. He hears their boots on gravel. 30 loggers, wrapped up dark, carrying axes and small packages of food which hang from their belts. The boy walks downstairs and moves to a window in the kitchen where he can look down the driveway. They move from right to left. Already they seem exhausted before the energy of the sun. Sometimes, he knows, this collection of strangers will meet the cows being brought in from a pasture barn for milking, and there will be a hushed politeness as they stand to the side of the road holding up the lanterns. One step back and they will be in a knee-high snowdrift. To let the cows lazily pass them on the narrow road, sometimes the men put their hands on the warm flanks of these animals and receive their heat as they pass. They put their thin-gloved hands on these black and white creatures who are barely discernible in the last of the night's darkness. They must do this gently, without any sense of attack or right. They do not own this land as the owner of the cows does. The Holsteins pass the silent gauntlet of men. The farmer who follows the cows nods. He passes this strange community most mornings during the winter months. The companionship, a silent comfort to him in the dark of 5 a.m., for he has been rounding up the cattle for over an hour to take them to the milking barns. The boy who witnesses this procession, and who even dreams about it, has also watched the men working a mile away in the gray trees. He has heard their barks, heard their axes banging into the cold wood as if into metal, has seen a fire beside the creek where water is molecular and gray under the thin ice. The sweat moves between their hard bodies and the cold clothes. Some die of pneumonia or from the sulfur in their lungs from the mills they work in during other seasons. They sleep in the shacks behind the Bell Rock Hotel and have little connection with the town. Neither the boy nor his father have ever been into those dark rooms, into a warmth which is the odor of men, a raw table, 4 bunks, a window the size of a torso. These are built each December and dismantled the following spring. No one in the town of Bell Rock really knows where the men have come from. It takes someone else, much later, to tell the boy that. The only connection the loggers have with the town is when they emerge to skate along the line of river on homemade skates, the blades made of old knives. For the boy, the end of winter means a blue river, means the disappearance of these men. It's Michael Ondaatje in The Skin of a Lion. Well, thank you very much. There was an interesting thread this evening. Who knows what we'll call it? I hope you'll come out again next month, and also continue to support the showroom. Bring all your loonies and toonies. Come to lots of shows. And we thank John so much for 9.2 years. Fiddlesticks edition. The night that, for the love of words, was almost taken over by fiddlesticks. You could probably play now if you want, actually. So thanks for coming out. I hope you guys will come. New readers. Angela, you going to come again to the dress rehearsal Tuesday? You enjoyed playing? Is she still there? Oh, I'm talking to someone who's not there. Ah, that's great. Oh, you're over there. Yeah, so that was fun? You played on this stage? Oh, they told me you were here. Isn't that what you said? Oh. Oh, in the park. Oh, yes. Well, that's a lot of fun, too. Yay, thanks, John. And thanks to Ted, who's somewhere as well. They're probably all watching on YouTube. Thank you all for coming out. Very nice night. And Eugene for that lovely gift. I will treasure that. And wait, we can't go without... I think the first 2 words I'll remember, but what if I forget the other one? We have John Sense. which we all completely understand. We have the Johnologue. And you might have to spell the other one. What was the other one? Psychogera, like Gera. Cetic would be like SET? Cetic. You shh. Hockey nut. Well, thank you for coming away from your televisions and your iPods and your whatever else you play with at home and coming and sharing with us. Thank you all so much. Have a good night.